covert narcissists and triangulation. How and why do they do it? Triangulation is a very common tactic that narcissists like to use. It's when they bring a third person into the relationship who they triangulate you with, while there may be limited or no communication between you and this third person, except through the narcissist. It's a form of baiting, which is a psychological tactic that involves intentionally provoking someone to elicit an emotional, aggressive or angry response. It may be used as a form of bullying or intimidation, as a source of power and control, to assert dominance and to manipulate your emotions. It gives them a narcissistic supply, because by them provoking reactions, they are ensuring attention and validation for the false self, and it also regulates their emotions. Because it gives them an opportunity to shift their emotional discomfort onto you, which is why they will engage in this form of tactical manipulation. They will push and provoke you to trigger defensive responses, making you appear reactive. They will gaslight you to distort reality and to create confusion and self-doubt, and they will engage in projective identification, a defensive mechanism where they unconsciously split off parts of their true self, flaws or behaviours, which they then attribute to you. They do this as a result of various psychological motivations: insecurities, to deflect attention from their own vulnerabilities; envy, to diminish your confidence and achievements; and boredom, to create drama and excitement. A narcissist's common baiting techniques may include blame shifting, condescending remarks, emotional hooks, gaslighting by omission, and playing the victim. Which is why you must protect yourself from the potential harm that this may otherwise cause you, by setting clear boundaries and establishing firm limits. Staying calm and avoiding reacting emotionally. Not taking the bait and instead ignoring provocative comments. Maintaining emotional distance and limiting engagement. And by seeking support from trusted friends, family or professionals. Recognize the red flags: inconsistent behavior, words and actions that don't align, emotional instability and frequent mood swings, grandiosity, lack of empathy, and manipulative tactics such as coercion, guilt tripping, or gaslighting. Prioritize self-love and self-care instead of taking the bait and feeding into their drama and chaos, because they will use triangulation to manipulate you, gain power and control, and feed their need for validation. It's a form of emotional manipulation to create conflict, because they enjoy stirring up drama and tension between people. They divide and conquer. They weaken relationships to maintain control, which gives them emotional supply, because then they get attention and validation from multiple sources. It allows them to shift the power dynamics. They use triangulation to influence people, which maintains their superiority by them positioning themselves as the central figure. And it also empowers them, because it avoids intimacy by keeping the relationship superficial. It fulfills their psychological needs. It gives them validation. It reinforces their grandiose image. And it alleviates their fear of abandonment by ensuring backup relationships. Which is why they will engage in various triangulation tactics, such as gossiping and playing the victim. They will even flirt and use charm to play with your insecurities and exploit your vulnerabilities in order to create jealousy or interest, while gaslighting you and distorting reality to create confusion. They do it because it's effective. It creates divisions. It separates people into groups. It creates tremendous destruction in romantic relationships and families. And it can also destroy you internally. It can diminish your self-esteem and self-worth. And depending on the severity of their disorder, their intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, past experiences and empathy capacity, they may be aware of this. Narcissistic triangulation can be subtle, which may make it challenging to recognise. But there are signs to look for. There may be verbal cues such as hinting, where they will drop subtle hints about others to create doubt or tension. Or they may give backhanded compliments that belittle others. Or passive-aggressive comments to where they make indirect sarcastic remarks. They may also utilise behavioural tactics such as excluding, where they will purposely leave you or another person out of conversations or activities. They will play dumb by feigning ignorance or innocence. They will gaslight you by omission, withholding information to create uncertainty. They will engage in subtle flirting, where they will make subtle advances to create jealousy. But if you confront them on their behaviours, they will manipulate your emotions. They will use guilt tripping, emotional blackmail, or they will play the victim to gain sympathy. They may also utilise digital triangulation, which may include provocative social media posts, ambiguous or flirtatious text messages, and online flirting to create jealousy. Or they may engage in covert triangulation, manipulating others to convey messages or create conflict, spreading rumours and playing both sides, where they will mediate conflicts while secretly fueling them. But even though their triangulation tactics can be subtle, there are ways to recognise them. By paying attention to inconsistencies in their words and actions, noticing emotional manipulation or gaslighting, identifying patterns of exclusion or favoritism, being aware of subtle changes in their behaviour or tone, and trusting your instincts, because nothing is ever their fault, which is why they use triangulation, because it allows them to stay in that victim role, and they love to be in either the victim or rescuer role to achieve emotional control, sympathy and validation. But it's all a fantasy. Because while it may appear as though they are oscillating between the victim, rescuer or persecutor role, in reality they are always in the persecutor role, because the victim and rescuer roles are forms of subtle persecution and coercion. When the narcissist are playing the victim, they need someone else to be in the role of persecutor, because it fulfills their psychological needs. By confirming their victimhood and garnering sympathy, focusing attention on themselves and eliciting control by manipulating others' emotions and reactions. So when they are playing the victim role, they must allocate another person to be this real or imagined persecutor, when really it could be anyone who disagrees, criticises or sets boundaries, or someone who they may have manipulated into attacking or criticising them. Or it may be a projected persecutor, someone who they have accused of harming them when in fact they are the aggressors, because the narcissist will often become an aggressor by accusing a projected persecutor of behaviours they themselves exhibit, or by attributing their own thoughts or intentions to a projected persecutor, or by blame shifting, transferring responsibility, emotional blackmail, coercing a projected persecutor to do their bidding. It's an attack, a provocation, a form of aggression, because the narcissist is in denial of reality, to where they may be accusing the projected persecutor of lying or of being overly sensitive. They may also exhibit minimization, to where they are downplaying their own aggressive behaviour, or blame shifting, where they are transferring responsibility onto the projected persecutor who is actually the true victim. They may also attribute malicious intentions, make false accusations of abuse or aggression, and mirroring, where they will reflect their own behaviour onto the projected persecutor, and blame shifting, where they will deflect criticism, redirect blame, victim blame, rationalising and justifying their behaviour as a response to perceived persecution, when engaging in emotional blackmail, guilt tripping, intimidation, anger, rage and self-pity. Verbal manipulation, such as labelling, name-calling, sarcasm and belittling. Covert aggression, such as passive-aggressive behaviour, backhanded compliments, subtle sabotage, and undermining the perceived persecutor's efforts. And digital aggression, which may include cyberbullying, online stalking, social media manipulation, and spreading misinformation. These tactics create an aggressive projector persecutor by manipulating their perceptions, distorting reality, shifting blame, coercing submission, and intimidating through emotional displays. And the person that they are talking to about the projector persecutor is in the role of rescuer, someone who enables, supports, and sympathizes with the narcissist. But sometimes the narcissist will put the person who they're trying to get to side with them in the role of victim, while placing themselves in the rescuer role, because they're trying to create an alliance with this other person. They're trying to make this other person feel like they're taking care of them and making sure nothing bad happens to them, because this other person is a victim, and the narcissist is going to rescue them from this horrible persecutor. Triangulation is the narcissist game board, and their goal is to get you onto the drama triangle so that they can manipulate you, relationships, and achieve emotional control, which they achieve by provoking you to react so that they can point the finger at you and make you look like the persecutor. When a narcissist is talking about someone else negatively, they're trying to get you to take sides. Even though this is a problem between them and someone else, they will pressure you to support them against the other person. They won't just share the information or talk with you about the problem. They will leave you with the idea that now that you know, you have to be on their side. Sometimes they may even pressure you into choosing who is right and who is wrong, or they may use gossiping. Because they want to put you in the rescuer role of the drama triangle, which is very different to when they've put you in the persecutor role. Because in this role you will feel like you're being excluded from the group of 3 people. You will feel like you're invisible, because you're being completely ignored. But if you confront them, they will treat you as though you're jealous or problematic, and they may even force you into the persecutor role by treating you very unkindly and disrespectfully, especially when no one is looking. They will create chaos and then point the finger at your normal reactions to their abnormal behaviour, as though your reactions or you are the problem, when really they're creating chaos because they want to turn people against each other. They want to be the one who controls the narrative. They want the only narrative that is being told to come from them. And they also gain an advantage by manipulating you into conflict. It makes them feel like they have gained superiority over you, as though they are better than you, which is why they may have an obsession with you and they're always trying to outdo you, because they have an extreme inferiority complex, so they're constantly having to one-up you. They're constantly having to achieve, demonstrate, or assume superiority over you, which is why they will try to make you look crazy by pointing out to the other person things that you are noticing, which are things that the other person is not noticing, because then it makes you feel crazy and confused, which gives them positive and negative supply. Narcissists create triangulation because they have a need for drama, so they want to make you look crazy and they want to create division. They're doing it to hide the real problem, which is that they are crossing boundaries. They are lying, manipulating, gaslighting, and lack of respect for you. They're being highly critical and negative because they have an insatiable need for attention and control. And these unhealthy behavioural patterns are the real problem that the narcissist does not want to face, because they do not like to self-reflect. They don't like to work on anything, because their fragile, dysfunctional ego will not let them see themselves as flawed and imperfect, which is why they use manipulation tactics like triangulation, so that there is a lot of confusion, and so that their real behavioural problems go unseen by those who may lack emotional intelligence, and you then carry the blame for them. When the truth is that they're selfish and entitled. They disrespect boundaries. They have a lack of empathy. They're unwilling to self-reflect. They're unwilling to take accountability. And that's what is causing problems. But they're causing problems that they do not want to work on. They don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to make changes. So they triangulate someone else into being blamed for the problems, which hides the real problem, and it allows the narcissist to get both positive and negative supply. They get positive supply from the people who they have fooled into thinking that someone else is the problem. They also get the attention, validation and admiration that they desperately need in order to build up their fragile sense of self-worth, which then helps them to bear their own toxic shame. And the people who are supporting this image end up validating the false self that the covert narcissist pretends to be. Which gives them a huge amount of positive supply. While they may have manipulated you, gaslighted you, set you up to be reactive and rejected you, and blamed you for every single thing that went wrong, which provides them with negative supply. Because they're intentionally provoking you into emotional reactions, which may have caused you to feel fear, anger, resentment, helplessness, self-doubt, and shame and insecurity. And the reason why they decided on this specified course isn't just for attention, it's also for control. Because negative supply makes them feel more in control and powerful. It helps them to defend against the shame and helplessness that they feel deep down. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button to receive the notifications. If you would like to support the channel, you can donate at paypal.me/Narc Survivor. You can book a one-on-one with me on my website. It's narcsurvivor.co.uk. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.